have done more eulogies than I have actually stood up at a microphone and talked about my own self, life, or emotions. And so this is one of the firsts for me to share poetry that I've written. And I guess I didn't get the memo that I didn't have to wear all black. But I am having a funeral for my privacy today, so RIP to that. And this is in Mercury retrograde style, something that I pulled back from 2021 because I just thought, if I'm going to say a poem today, there was that really deep emotional piece that I can't even remember, but why don't I just say that? And then I read it. I kept it intact, but I added on something that I wrote just before coming here. So you'll hear one plus. And let me get going so we can get out of here. All right? It's called Roller Coaster from 11/29/21 en route to Miami on a cross-country flight from California. You must not know just how much it affected me to have that conversation with you. To process those feelings that you told me, the questions you asked of me, but most importantly, that I already had inside of me, happily gnawing at any empty space in my head for 3 days before. To lay in bed with you and hear, "You're the one." Don't you think a girl's heart must jump? It was a quiet flutter of peace for me, mainly because every day that we explored our alignment further and activated our divine love, I already had leaps of my heart larger than the ones I did in dance class on Monday nights. On the first day we ever talked about our goals, visions, and dreams in that apartment in New York City, I instantly had to become comfortable with you as you are, a father. You told me you wanted to bring your kids with you to travel the world while we curated and created those transformational experiences for the 8 billionaires under age 35. I didn't ever think that while accepting the super expansion of that idea, that I could have those clients, I'd also be accepting the super expansion of 2 boys under the age of 15 being there with me and you too, in this bougie, "Hey, look, Mom, I made it" moment across the world, with me and you, and yet, with one swallow and one head nod, I instantly did, and never once thought otherwise again. So you can imagine that when a few weeks later I met these exact children for the first time, not getting onto a plane to go to work somewhere across the world, but in a car, picking them up from school to bring them back to their house, where I was staying, after another inseparable week, after a trip we took that absolutely changed our lives even further, because now were we madly in love with each other and couldn't stop professing it at any given moment. And then you called me one of your best friends and highlighted that you appreciate anyone who helps the kids. Not specifically me being the loving woman that I was to both you and them, but just somebody that checks the box, and here I was after being afraid of even babysitting for the literal entirety of my whole life and would sob non-stop, even more than the kid would cry if they even did at all, embracing the idea that I might have been getting my dream of being a mom to 2 older kids that I always said I would adopt as my own, unfolding right before my eyes, and I was open to receive. But for you, it was still just my 2 hands, cooking, washing dishes, playing cards, filling a void for you more than it was my one heart expanding by double the size for eternity that was happening to me. And I was elated to know that it was possible for me to be partnered with such an amazing star man and divinely perfect star children. And all of a sudden, experiencing the newness of life that way became more than enough. But back to the top, the laying down moment, the "you're the one" wasn't the end of it. You asked me if I wanted to have a baby. You asked me if I wanted to have a baby. Yes, in between gazing into my eyes and back at the ceiling, which seemed to be all as deep and as far as infinity, in that moment we talked about growing our family together. Let me tell you, I have never been asked this question in my whole life. I have only thought about having a baby with someone once ever. It was after a breakup when I had to ask myself that hard question. If we ever get back together, it's for the long haul, the whole shebang. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth the pain and the trauma I already felt from the fight, anger, separation that plagued us. had to ask myself at that moment and come up with an answer in silence, alone. And I don't think I ever brought up that moment in words at all. So to have this talk change my life, to put it concisely. The fact that I could answer so quickly and so excitedly that I would definitely consider that with you. And more so that I had already thought about it without being prompted days before, made it one of the most marked moments in my adult life and in any love relationship I had ever had. Only in line with the ones that happened a few weeks prior. Meeting and getting to know your kids, and a few weeks later, losing them and you. Roller coaster addendum 4924. You might be wondering, why did they die? A car crash? COVID struck the household? No, it wasn't death, though it felt like it. The pain of endings at that time were not laced with speak of new beginnings from spiritual teachers, authors, coaches, and astrologers that the current me follows on Instagram, let alone anyone mentioning on media posts and Quora replies that I now easily find. The imminent separation phase that happens shortly after you meet the other half of your soul. Ripped apart from them because the triggers of being mirrors of not only each other's exact joys, but exact fears are too much. I met my twin flame. What happened since then? More happy times, hooray! Stuck together like glue for more than half of 2022. It was fun as hell, doing and being the absolute best we could. Until we couldn't anymore. And it still makes me feel sore. Was it all in vain? Last year, we had some unexpected run-ins at events and such. Not much, but guess what? I've moved 4 cities in 1.5 years and unexpectedly ended up here. And just learned he lives here too. Probably just down the street, but we don't speak. What a shame. My soul knows there's still more to the story, unfinished business. Not just the shared storage unit, which, yes, needs to get wrapped up, but from the first day I knew this man and his fam were meant to be mine for a really long time. Can we get through the blame? I do the deep work, make lots of shifts, heal old patterns and traumas that have plagued my lineage. Basically anything but go on dating apps. Bills make me feel like I'm losing the game. They might get me closer to a soulmate, sure. There are many of those for us all, but once you deeply experience yourself in another body, there's no going back to short-lived desires, at least for me. I'm focused on the ultimate fantasy. 2 people, yet we're one and the same. And let me tell you, this journey is not for the faint of heart. But luckily, that has never been me. Trace my path through history. I trust and surrender to the universe and its great mysteries. And absolutely not those awful scam artists running Twin Flames universe. I gag trying to get through watching those documentaries. Come on, I'm ready to change my last name. Learning self-love is actually what it's all about, without a doubt. But I had them, and I still do. Because I am a romantic Pisces who wants to get swept away in butterflies and rainbows from here on out. So that's why I think I needed to experience not just the highs, but the lows. Not just the light, but the dark. I've never really been a roller coaster rider, but this feels like I've been thrown the entire amusement park. There's no match to this kind of pain. I see myself now choosing this soul contract before imparting here on Earth like, hey, that sounds fun. And yeah, really fun and tiring and confusing. Well, maybe I've already won. You know, acknowledging my courage and strength to change, to rise higher, to see things from new perspectives, to keep dancing, to be of deeper service, to learn some more, to bring innovative ideas